Hey, how's it going, everybody? Of course, it is yours truly, Dr. Mike, coming back at you guys with another video today. Ngayon din, as we always do. Magandang umaga, magandang gabi, magandang hapon, which means good morning, good evening, and of course, good afternoon, depending on what time you guys choose to watch this video today. Once again, back in the formal setting, sitting down, chilling, having a conversation between me and you. If you guys are new to the channel, by all means, please like, subscribe, comment. You know, if you like the video, just let everybody know that this guy, Dr. Mike, is something that is definitely for real. If you guys are not already familiar, if you don't already know, please, by all means, I'm new on the IG circuit. Follow me at Dr. Mike from the PH. Again, that's Dr. at, little at thingy. Yeah. Dr. Mike, DR. Dr. Mike from the PH. All right. You'll be able to catch it somewhere in the video somewhere. All right. Today, guys, I'm here to answer the $1 million question. All right. Not going to lie to you. Mike is here to answer the $1 million question. Let me see something real quick. Okay. I'm going to get my sophisticated on real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and do it with the glasses on today. Mike's here to answer the $1 million question, ladies and gentlemen. The $1 million question, I get this all the time from every subscriber, from every time I post a video, from every time I do interviews, from every time that I have people on my channel, for every time that I have people off my channel. Every single time I get the same question. Every single time. $1 million question is, ladies and gentlemen, how much money do you need to retire or to live in the Philippines? I repeat, how much money do you need to live and or retire in the Philippines? Now, to be honest with you, answering that question to me is not hard at all. It's not hard at all. But what I have to take into account is the spending habits of other people. Now, at the end of this video, or towards the end, I'm going to give you an actual definitive figure, like a good amount of money that a person should have in order to be able to retire safely in the Philippines for an extended period of time. I'm going to give you a definitive number, but before we get to that, I definitely like to say that it does depend on the person, and it does depend on that person's spending habits. It depends on whether that person plans on leasing property. It depends on if that person plans on buying property or renting property while they're in the Philippines. Because of course, if you own something, if you're going to pay it out outright, that's going to be relatively expensive, number one. If you plan on doing the rent to own method, wherein you pay anywhere between 15 to 20,000 pesos per month until it's already paid off for you to actually own it, that's another option. You know, there are definitely different routes that you can take in reference to owning property. But aside from that, it depends on that person's spending habit, on the way that they eat, the way that they consume food, the way that they travel, the activities in which they like to partake in. If you're a club person and you like to go out and drink every night, you got to take that into consideration. If you like to eat at these westernized expensive restaurants, you have to take that into account. If you like to use your air conditioning inside of your house as opposed to using fans like normal Filipino people do, you have to take that into account as well. So there are definitely a bunch of things that you need to take into account in reference to understanding the significant or a significant amount of money in which you need to have in order to retire and live comfortably. Operative word, comfortably in the Philippines. You have to make sure that you take into account all of these things. All right. Now, everybody's different. I'm way different. And if I'm going to explain how I pretty much come to my conclusion on about how much I would personally be able to live off of while living in the Philippines and being able to retire, my number is definitely going to be a lot different than a lot of other people. But for me, living in the country for 10 years, I've developed what is known as the Filipino foreigner mentality. That's what we're working with today, okay? It's going to be known as the Filipino foreigner mentality, aka I've been able to adapt and adjust to living in the country in a way in which that I can spend my money without, let's say, sacrificing too much, but being able to live off of very little. Like what I would normally do, any money that I would get per month, I could basically cut that money in half, save half, and live off of the other half. That's kind of how I was able to develop my mentality. I can live very good off of very little. I've been able to establish a frugality, if that's a word, being frugal. So to the point where I can still do the things that I want to. I still eat what I want to. I love my Filipino dishes. Don't get it twisted. Mike is big on his sinigang and his adobo and his arroz caldo, the whole nine. I'm big on that. And that stuff is cheap in the country. I've been able to adapt my eating habits in reference to, being able to spend less on food as opposed to wanting to eat at these foreign establishments all the time. Pizza Hut, McDonald's, well, Jollibee is not foreign, but it's like a foreign type setup. Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Fridays, Applebee's and other places that may cost me $50 to go eat at to go eat there, as opposed to sitting at a Carinderia where I can get a whole meal for like $1, a whole meal for like $2. That means a viand, which is a meat, a rice, and also a drink. And that's satisfying to me over a long period of time. And I'll pay like $1, maybe even 50 cents for a whole meal. How mind-blowing is that you can live in a country and pay only 50 cents and eat good? Relatively, if it's $1, you can eat very good. And where else in the world can you do that? And when I say those expensive restaurants, McDonald's is not really expensive in the country. Let me give you the FYI. And also, Pizza Hut is not really expensive in the country either. It's relatively up there in reference to other restaurants, but it's not really that mind-blowing expensive. Not like it is at places like Fridays, okay? Now, again, I've been able to develop a mentality where I can live very good off of very little. I can cut my money in half and I can be fine. And of course, my father, who is a retired military person, or anybody who has a pension or disability or anything coming in, that right there is key. Being able to live off of what you can bring in will definitely be helpful to you in the long run. A lot of people may bring in a lot more than others. It depends on your rank in the military, your percentage of disability, and also the amount of money that you bring in for pension. There are a lot of different factors or variables that could definitely need to be adjusted or need to be talked about or need to be finalized so that you can actually be able to figure out the exact number that you're gonna get and if you'll be able to live off that money or not. Okay? Now, talking to my normal folks, such as myself, salute to my brother, salute to my other brother, salute to my father, and everybody who serves in the military, but yours truly is not military bound. Yours truly doesn't have military background. Although I come from a military family, that's not how I'm going to be able to sustain myself in the country for a long period of time. I'm going to have to go a different route. I'm going to have to figure out another way to be able to retire and live in the country. So for those of us who do not have that type of background, and those of us who do not have that potential income coming in for a significant amount of time, if I had to give you a number, this is real. If I had to give you a number, a specific monthly income number, this isn't going to be like a large lump sum that you can live off of forever. This is just something that I feel like if you can bring in this amount of money every single month on a consistent basis and save a lot of it, you'll be able to live comfortably in the Philippines for a very, very long time. You can retire and live there damn near for life. If you can bring in anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 USD per month, I feel like you can live comfortably. Operative word is comfortably, because I can live off way less. Somebody else may have to live off way more. It just depends on what you're renting, how much you're paying for rent, how much you spend in food, travel, and all of your excess extracurricular activities. And all of you guys know what extracurricular activities are. I do not need to go into it. I hope not. But, if you have companionship, if you like to go out and drink and, party it up, you have to take all of that in consideration, and you have to set a budget for that too. But again, anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 USD, I believe. This is just me. This is just Mike only. It doesn't necessarily apply to you. But I feel like that is a comfortable amount of money for somebody to be able to live off of in the Philippines long term if they can bring in that money consistently every single month. The reason that I say 2,500 is a lot of you guys will say, oh man, that's too much, man. I could live off of less than that. I agree 100%. But what I'm taking into consideration is those guys who come in with the foreigner mentality. Everybody knows what the foreigner mentality is. That means I can't live without my air conditioning because it's so extremely hot. That means that I have to eat at my westernized foreign establishments in the Philippines where I have to pay $50 or so for one meal so that I can eat a decent meal every day. I'm not comfortable eating the Filipino foods because I don't know what's in them. I don't know what's in Filipino food. Maybe they're trying to kill me. I'm taking those individuals into consideration because I've had so many people who do not necessarily like Filipino food. So I'm taking them into consideration, and I feel like if you can set aside anywhere between like 500 USD per month to take care of bills, like rent and your cable and your internet, depending on, you know, what kind of things you have in your house, to take care of your standardized bills, and you have the other 2K to take care of everything else, groceries, traveling, you know, activities, and whatever you want to partake in, that will be more than sufficient for you to be able to sustain yourself in the country. I repeat, 2,500 to 3,000 USD should be more than sufficient for you to live. This isn't just for simple vacays or simple vacations. I mean, you should be able to sustain yourself with 2,500 to 3,000, I believe. Now, if you can't, personally, I feel like you need to readjust yourself a little bit. If you got bills, that credit card bills and stuff that are skyrocketing through the roof because you swipe your shit every time you go to the mall or something like that, then that's something you need to take up between you and your creditors. I mean, but aside from you being able to live and spend just on normal everyday things, I think anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 USD per month will be more than sufficient. Operative word, more than sufficient for you to be able to sustain yourself in the country. Hell, it should be more. It should be good enough to sustain you and a companion. If your companion costing you a lot of money, then you need to readjust yourself with that. But personally, for you, it should be more than enough for you and a significant other, whether it be your wife or whether it be a girlfriend or whether it be a boyfriend or whatever you got going on in your life. You need to be able to adjust your budget so that all of that can be taken care of within the 2,500 to 3,000 USD per month. And that's just my time, ladies and gentlemen. That is all that I have to say. I appreciate you guys coming. I appreciate you guys showing up and listening to me rant and rave and tell you some good, knowledgeable information about the Philippines, because, hey, yours truly did 10 years there. And I'm not talking about 10 years off and on. I'm talking about 10 years consistently. I lived in that country for 10 years. I didn't take vacations. I left the country once in 2008 to come back home to see family. And then I lived there for another, 8 years. All right. So Mike don't BS, man. Mike knows what he's talking about. All right. I give you my word. You'll very rarely find somebody that can do this better than me or have the knowledge that I have. And if you do, by all means, man, you can listen to them if you want to. But I'm just here to give you the real. I'll never lie to you. I'll never BS you because I don't have to. There's no reason to lie to you. I don't get anything out of lying. Okay. There's nothing that I benefit from, for telling you stories or telling you lies, okay? So I sincerely hope that has answered the $1 million question that everybody asked me. Mike, how much money does it take for you to live and retire in the Philippines? I sincerely hope that it does. Of course, for my guys that don't have the military pension coming in, we have to go about it another route. So we have to create our own forms of income, basically online and things like that, to be able to sustain ourselves. But if you can find a way to do it, 2,500 to 3,000 should be more than sufficient for you to be able to sustain yourself comfortably. Operative word is comfortably. Now, you could bring in 1,000 and probably be able to make it work. You could bring in 500 and probably be able to make it work. It'll be a struggle. So that's why I say 2,500 is a comfortable range. Again, guys, comment down below. Let me know. Let me know what you believe would be a comfortable number for you to be able to live in the Philippines for. I say between 2,500 and 3K. That's just taking into consideration every single thing that I've learned in reference to being in the Philippines. So maybe your number is a little bit different than mine. Okay? And that's my time. I think I repeated that. As always, guys, like, subscribe, comment down below. As always, Dr. Mike is officially on IG. I told you that. Follow me. I'm going to give you guys a couple of some good tidbits that I try to load up at least every day, every couple of days or so, so that you guys can get a, snapshot into my life as it is right now and what it was when I was in the Philippines and all of my nostalgic moments and, reminiscent and having the time of my life. All right. And I want to take you guys on the journey with me. I sincerely do. And that's where we're going to leave it. As always, I love you guys. Truly do. Mahal kita. Mabuhay. Peace.